Morning, everybody. Welcome to another round of Coffee and Questions. What's today's topic? I'm going to talk about these platform dollies. Is that what they call it? Folding platform truck. One that's made by Franklin out at Harbor Freight. And out at the club, I belong to a couple of forums and a local club where we demo tools and stuff like that I tell you about in my videos. When we were out there, one of the club members said, hey, I'm going to scoot over to Harbor Freight and I'm going to pick up one of these Franklin folding platform trucks. And I said, hey, I'll go with you because I'd like to get one for home use and we'll check it out. So, all right, so we went over there. Now, where I live, Home Depot, Lowe's, and Harbor Freight are all real close together. So, went to Harbor Freight first, and he decided he's going to get the Franklin cart. And I said, well, let's take a close look at it because I like to kind of monkey around with things at Harbor Freight before I get to the cash register. And I told him, I was zipping through on my phone, I go, hey, this thing's got some questionable reviews on some of this stuff. First one is the top of that platform, that deck cover, is paper thin. I'll show you a better picture here. Okay, now the next thing is they said the fold down works relatively okay, but that middle support section, again, I'll show you the photo. Okay, this is paper thin, almost like tinfoil. And you can feel that when you're out there that it is, but those things I could easily reinforce and re-support, and we were talking about modifications that are possible, and that was an easy one. And I go, the casters are what I'm really concerned about. I go, if you take a look at the casters on this thing, and then you go over to where they sell casters, the casters on this platform truck are cheaper than anything that even Harbor Freight has for sale for casters. I go, so the other thing is they're not that replaceable. The holes on the casters that Harbor Freight sells don't line up with the holes on this folding platform truck according to the criticism and the reviews. I go, so look, you could run into a problem with that. And when you go to assemble this, the only assembly required on this is bolting the casters to the bottom of the platform. Is that between the bolts and the threads, they strip easy. The bolts aren't made out of that grade of material, and they strip out on you easily, and you have all these problems. Well, then the friend of mine says, that's not a big deal. Look, I can, if I have to, I can drill a hole through the platform. I can use a carriage bolt, and I can put new casters on it of my choosing. Yeah, that's true. But this is $59.99. Now let's add in the cost of new casters, new carriage bolts, lock washers, nuts, whatever, and the price starts to kind of spiral up on you. Now, I'll agree that that paper-thin deck covering, you can easily get, a thicker rubber material, cut it, epoxy it down on there. That's an easy fix. You can re-strengthen that support, like I told you. That's an easy fix. But if you really have to start modifying this, especially when it comes to the casters and all the trouble that I'm reading that people had with the casters and the reason why they returned it, I don't know if it's really such a great deal. So what we did is we went ahead and we looked it over real carefully, and they had one out there assembled, and we kind of moved it around, and the wheels, they wobble. Now, two of these towards the back, and I'll show you right now. Okay, those are fixed position. And the ones in the front, they'll swivel 360 degrees, but when we were moving this around, I mean, this thing wobbled like crazy. So maybe it's just that one, I don't know. So he was telling me, well, I don't know if I like that, but it's workable, but it's almost like you have to pick the cart up and kind of move it if you want to go in different directions. But I told him, well, a lot of these carts have got two that are fixed and two that are swiveled, so I wouldn't call that a deal killer. I mean, and if you wanted to, you could swap out two of the wheels, I suppose. But again, all these things drive cost. Okay, so I told him when it comes to the decking, which I wanted to go to Home Depot next because I'm not going to buy this one. I decided I'm going to wait and look around a little bit, but I really needed one. But anyway, he went ahead and he got this one, but I told him, look, when we get to Home Depot, for like 25 bucks, maybe less, you can get a real thick kind of rubber mat and just glue it right down on top of that one. So that'll be an easy fix for you. And he wanted to use this out at the club because people come out there sometimes with small table saws and different equipment and stuff that, you know, for the next 3 or 4 hours of the meeting, they want to demo something or do something. So he thought it'd be kind of handy to have, and I agreed with him, that's fine. Now mine was for home use. So, okay, after all of that, and after, you know, criticizing and critiquing this thing, we went to Home Depot. Now, the one that I bought, I got from Home Depot, and it's made by Everbilt. So let me show you the advertisement, and then I'll explain to you why. Okay, so I just made a couple of notes. Now, the Everbilt one, the dimensions are 31.5 by 21.25, and the Harbor Freight one is 24 inches by 36 inches. So there isn't really that big of a difference, so that wasn't a big deal. And Harbor Freight's is 440-pound capacity as far as, you know, weight limit. And the one by Everbilt says 500 pounds. Okay, now, neither cart would I try to max out the weight on after playing around with them and examining them real close. There is no way that this cart here from Harbor Freight can hold up to 440 pounds. I mean, you'd bust the hell out of it. So I figured either cart, it doesn't matter. I'm never going to reach that maximum load limit anyway. I just wanted a little bit better constructed, or what I felt would be, you know, a platform cart. So the Everbilt one, they had a stack of them out there, and they're currently, like right now at my Home Depot, even though you saw the ad, they're on sale. Like this is 60 bucks. I paid like $74 for the one out at Home Depot. So I went ahead and bought it. So everybody focuses on packaging. I could give a damn one way or the other about packaging. What this was is they had a big pallet of them, and all they were was like saran wrapped. Because when I went to pick it up to put it in the cart, 2 of the wheels fell out of it because there's no boxing or anything. It's just saran wrapped. And I thought, oh, well, I don't care. I put the wheels back in it, made sure they were all 4. Felt the platform and stuff. They didn't have anything assembled, but I thought I could take it back just as easily, whether it was Harbor Freight or Home Depot. And okay, so I went ahead and got it. Now, the casters on this were kind of a good selling point for me. These have a nice thick rubber, kind of a base to them. You know, the casters on the Everbilt. It also has a 3-position like handle. You pull it up, bring it back, lock it, pull it up, bring it back, lock it, or you can fold it all the way down, you know, flat for storage. You could do the same thing with the Harbor Freight one. So we're looking at like $60 as opposed to $74, and I just felt that the Everbilt one seemed to be better in terms of, you know, manufacturer, quality control, and what have you. Now, like it says up here, I agree, it's got this heavy-duty plastic that's resistant to rusting, because one of the other criticisms on the Harbor Freight one is the paint flakes off real easily. I wouldn't care, really. You just touch it up with, you know, primer or something. I wouldn't consider that a deal breaker. But this, I wouldn't have to worry about rusting at all. You know, the hardware, wheels, all that stuff is in there, easy installation. Yeah, it's the same thing as even on the Harbor Freight one. Now this one, just like the Harbor Freight one, has got 2 fixed wheels, and it has 2 in the front that swivel. It's almost like your automobile. And a friend of mine said, well, there's plastic. I'll show you a picture here in the back. If you just cut it and grind it down a little bit, all 4 would swivel. Well, that's true. I don't think I'm going to do that right now. I don't need to. I'm not sure. He says the cart would work much better if all 4 were 360-degree swivel. Well, if that's what I need, he's right. I can go through, you know, this material here, this structural foam, and cut it. and just grind it with a, angle grinder and a flap wheel, and then they'll both spin, or all four will spin, 360 degrees. So that's true. Now I will say, whether you're at Harbor Freight or you're at Home Depot, the quality of manufacture of all these things, whether they came from China, Taiwan, or whatever, the consistency in manufacture is not great, okay? So that's the reason why I say I always kind of play around with them, move them around, feel them, work them, tighten them, loosen them, whatever it is that I have to do before I hit the cashier, because I don't want to have to bring it back. That's a pain. And if I find one that's not really measuring up to what I want, I look through the stack at either place, and then I try to find one that is. Because I know that they are not all identically manufactured, and some have got problems that others don't in that same manufacturing process. Okay, now with the Everbilt, one of the criticisms I read that said, like, the wheels, you put them into a hole and you tap them in with like a hammer and like a dowel, and they wedge in there real tight into a hole in the bottom of the cart. I said, well, in time, they just kind of slip out. And I don't really care. It goes to slip out, I'll put some epoxy in there, smack the wheel back in, let it set up, and I'm fine. Now, if the casters ever fail on me to any degree, drilling through this material and using a carriage bolt, that easy, that fast. So, in one way, I don't care, and I'm not going to abuse the heck out of it. This is for light to moderate duty use. This isn't to be used, like, let's say, in a shop or, some production place where you're working, because in that case, you should have bought yourself a much more well-built kind of platform cart. I just need this for around the house. He needs it out at the club for wheeling projects and stuff, in and out of our showroom area or whatever you want to call it. And at home, it's just for around the house, like I said. So I don't need anything super heavy duty, and I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars. So this to me, is an easy fix if there's a problem with the casters. Hopefully they're not, because the casters are really well made on this Everbilt. What do I think of the platform itself being made out of this structural foam? It's incredibly strong. It's hard to explain in a video, but if you're out at Home Depot, pull one off the shelf yourself and feel it. I think it's structurally stronger than the one out at Harbor Freight, which is made out of aluminum. This thing is like fairly dense material. It's really hard. So I think it's going to stand up. Another criticism, several of them came with the instructions are real poor. I didn't find the instructions to be real poor. It's one page. It just tells you flip it over, put it on a hard surface, set the wheel down into the hole in the bottom of it, take a dowel or the end of like a hammer and hit it with another hammer, and it wedges itself into the hole, and you're done. Flip it over, pull the handle up, back position it. How much instruction do you need? Now, when it's folded down flat and you want to store it, it's about 5 to 6 inches. Real easy to store, lightweight, and it's very handy. I can slide it under something, I can do whatever with it, so the storage is not a big deal with this. Now, it's the same thing with the Harbor Freight one. You can fold the handle down and put that away too. So a lot of people are concerned over storing it. Well, on both of these, or on probably most of them that you come across, the handles fold down flat, so storage shouldn't be a problem. And another complaint on both carts is there are no locking casters. Okay, you're going to do more modification work on the Harbor Freight one than I think you would do on this Everbilt, but if you need locking casters, go buy a couple of them and put them on. Alright folks, I'm the Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe. I hope you keep following me. I'll leave you links in the description on anything that I used. I do that on each one of my videos. Like I said, I've got a bunch of feral cats that I take care of, and what little bit of money I make off of the videos from you folks clicking on those links. I buy cat food and do things for them. Like I told you, they're like my shop buddies. They were abandoned by other people, and so they live outside, food, water. I've got a covered place for them with some old blankets and stuff. And I'll show you a couple of quick pictures. I put them occasionally on my videos anyway. After you take a look at them, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.